In 1985, a young man named Reggie Cole, just 10 years old, moved with his family to a rough neighborhood in Los Angeles. The area was notorious for its high crime rates, gang activity, and violence. Reggie was the youngest of 4 siblings, with 2 brothers and 2 sisters. His older brother, Kenny, who was 15 at the time, joined one of the local gangs. Over time, Kenny became deeply involved in the gang's violent activities, which eventually led to his tragic death during a shootout with a rival gang. Reggie was devastated by the loss of his brother, but the environment around him continued to pull him deeper into the world of crime. Despite his family's efforts to steer him away from trouble, Reggie dropped out of school and followed in his brother's footsteps. His family fell apart, with his parents separating and his siblings moving away, leaving only Reggie and his mother at home. His mother struggled to control him as he became more entrenched in the gang lifestyle. Reggie started selling drugs, primarily marijuana, and was arrested multiple times for possession and resisting arrest. By the time he was 19, Reggie was arrested for murder and sentenced to life in prison. He was sent to Calipatria State Prison, one of the most dangerous and violent prisons in America. Calipatria was a maximum security prison surrounded by electrified fences and located in the middle of a desert. The prison was infamous for its brutal conditions and the dominance of gangs within its walls. From the moment Reggie arrived, he realized that this was not just a prison, it was a battlefield. Every inmate had to choose a side. Survival depended on either joining a gang or becoming an easy target. Reggie quickly learned that strength, caution, and alliances were the keys to staying alive. His first week was a brutal initiation into prison life. During a meal in the chow hall, a fight broke out between 2 rival gangs, leaving 1 man dead and several others injured. The guards barely reacted, showing that violence was a daily reality in Calipatria. The next morning, Reggie's cellmate, a young man named Andre, warned him that he needed to choose a side fast. Andre had been in prison for 6 years and had already survived multiple attacks. He explained that the prison was divided along racial lines, with gangs controlling every aspect of life, from food distribution to contraband smuggling. Determined to avoid being an easy target, Reggie fashioned a makeshift knife from a toothbrush and a piece of sharpened metal. He knew that having a weapon wasn't just about attacking, it was about survival. His first real test came 2 weeks later when he was cornered in the showers by 3 members of a rival gang. They accused him of disrespecting one of their leaders and demanded that he pay the price. Reggie, knowing he had no way out, fought back, stabbing one of them in the arm. The attack shocked them just enough for him to escape, but it also put a target on his back. Word of his defiance spread quickly, catching the attention of a gang called the 49ers. The 49ers were a group of prisoners who focused on survival rather than mindless violence. Their leader, a man named Victor Big Vic Rojas, approached Reggie and offered him protection in exchange for loyalty. With no other choice, Reggie agreed. He was now part of the prison system's hierarchy. However, the prison was ruled by a man named Eddie Clark, known as El Diablo, the Devil. El Diablo was the most feared inmate in Calipatria, controlling drug smuggling operations and wielding immense power over both prisoners and guards. He had been in the prison for over 20 years and had built an empire inside the walls. Even the guards were too afraid to cross him. For 4 years, Reggie managed to avoid El Diablo, focusing on surviving and slowly earning respect among the 49ers. He learned how to trade favors, smuggle supplies, and navigate the dangerous politics of the prison. But in 2000, everything changed. During a routine search in the prison yard, El Diablo falsely accused Reggie of possessing a knife. Reggie refused to take the blame, knowing it would destroy his reputation and make him a target. This defiance made him El Diablo's enemy. A month later, Reggie was attacked in the yard. He saw it coming too late. One of El Diablo's men stabbed him in the side as a warning. He barely made it back to his cell, bleeding heavily. That night, Big Vic told him there was only one way out. He had to kill El Diablo before El Diablo killed him. For weeks, Reggie planned his next move. He studied El Diablo's routine, noting when he was most vulnerable. The opportunity came during a search in the yard. When the guards were distracted, Reggie struck. He lunged at El Diablo, stabbing him in the throat before anyone could react. The prison erupted in chaos, with guards and inmates rushing toward the scene. Reggie was immediately placed in solitary confinement, facing a potential death sentence for the murder. He spent 23 hours a day in a tiny cell with nothing but a metal bed and a toilet. The isolation was brutal. Days blurred into nights, and the silence was deafening. He began questioning his entire life, wondering if he would ever see the outside world again. While in solitary confinement, Reggie's case was revisited by a lawyer named Christopher Blort. Blort discovered that Reggie had been wrongfully convicted of the murder that sent him to prison in the first place. The original case was riddled with inconsistencies, and the key witness, the manager of a brothel, had lied under pressure from the police. Blort proved that Reggie's leg injury, which had been used as evidence against him, was from a shooting years before the crime. After 3 years of legal battles, Reggie was exonerated of the original murder charge. As for the killing of El Diablo, Reggie's sentence was reduced to 10 years in solitary confinement, with 8 years already served. He was released in 2009 after spending 16 years in prison, 10 of which were in solitary. The day he walked out of prison, the world felt foreign. Technology had changed, the streets were different, and most of his family was gone. But he was free. In 2017, Reggie won a legal battle against the city of Los Angeles and was awarded $5.2 million in compensation for his wrongful imprisonment. However, no amount of money could bring back the years he had lost. Reggie's story is one of survival, resilience, and redemption. Despite the unimaginable hardships he faced, he emerged from prison with his freedom and a chance to rebuild his life. Instead of seeking revenge or falling back into the life of crime, he dedicated himself to helping others. He began working with organizations focused on criminal justice reform, speaking at schools to steer kids away from gangs, and mentoring former inmates struggling to adjust to life outside prison. His name, once associated with violence and survival, became a symbol of second chances.